We are honored and privileged to bring you live coverage of the 2024 Memorial Day Parade on Fall River Government Television, FRG TV. Good morning. I'm Evan Massoud along with Pauline McGrath in for Pamela Martin today. Thank you for joining us on one of the nation's most solemn national holidays, Memorial Day. Our thoughts and prayers of healing are with the Gold Star families today, here, and throughout the United States. In Fall River, it's been said many times, we hear it all the time, that Fall River does it best when it comes to honoring our veterans, those who are still with us and those who are sadly not with us. And Pauline, we've heard it from our mayor, Paul Coogan, we've heard it from the elected officials, even from the veterans themselves.
Agreed.
It wasn't until this job for me, and working so closely with Pam and our late colleague Phil Sabatino, that I truly understood this. And it's amazing the work that's done annually for the veterans here in Fall River. It's remarkable.
It sure is. I think there's 10,000 flags put on some of the graves throughout the city of Fall River, as well as numerous ceremonies that took place over the weekend. And we have one individual in particular to thank for that, the gentleman that works tirelessly.
Victor Farias, our flags and grave officer.
He's got a great team over there. As I mentioned, 10,000 new flags at all the veterans' burial sites. What an unbelievable task that has to be, and it's a 10-day task, I hear, right?
Yeah, basically here in Fall River, Memorial Day is not just one day. It really spans back to the two Fridays before, and we had basically 36 wreath layings at monuments and memorials across the city, plus some of the ceremonies that took place as well, the formal ceremonies. And we'd like to recap that with you. Looking at last Friday, it began with the Civil War memorial ceremony at Oak Grove Cemetery, which we covered. And then on Saturday, we had multiple as well. There was the Italian-American War Veterans Monument down at Bicentennial Park. And then we also had the Candlelight Vigil for Gold Star families. That's a fairly newer one because it's done at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, which opened 3 years ago. We had the grand opening for that. So, and this candlelight, I was honored to be asked to sing the national anthem at last year. And it was a beautiful ceremony, absolutely stunning. So I'm sorry I had to miss it this year, but that one is, they bring in hundreds of people.
Of course.
It's incredible.
Of course. And on Sunday, there were 3 additional ceremonies. The Polish War Veterans Monument across from the Blessed Trinity Parish, Griffin Park Memorial in Corky Row neighborhood, and the Rolling Thunder Chapter 2 Ride for Freedom, which concluded at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall at Bicentennial Park. And just this morning, our coworker Gary Leet was filming a ceremony at North Park, the War on Terrorism Monument ceremony, and then just prior to the parade step-off, the Kennedy Park Monument ceremony as well, which memorializes veterans of all wars. So.
Yeah, that monument sometimes goes a little bit hidden because it's right at the start of the Park Drive, just after Bradford Avenue, but there are names from all the wars, or all the wars represented, I should say, on that monument. At the conclusion of parade today, we invite you to stay with us live. There's going to be one more formal ceremony taking place inside the atrium here at Government Center, so we're going to stay here live as soon as the final division rolls through. We can start. We're hearing the honor guard led by the Fall River Police Department. They're making their way down the street right now behind us on South Main Street. Pauline, you mentioned about the 10,000 plus flags. Our flag and grave officer, Victor Farias, truly does an amazing job. We've done multiple stories with him and gone to Oak Grove, St. Patrick's Cemetery, and amongst other locations here in the city where the flags are placed. And Mr. Farias wanted us to publicly thank a few of the groups that helped him out. This is just a snapshot. It's certainly not limited to these few. The Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts,
the Fall River Young Marines, the Fall River Police and Fire Departments, and then various schools and children from the districts.
Now, and if you saw our coverage of the Oak Grove ceremony at the Civil War Monument last Friday, there were about 100 students from Fonseca Elementary School, and they walked in procession with flags following Mr. Farias' truck from the Fonseca School to the cemetery to be there for the ceremony. And it's, you know, that's so important for that exposure at a young age, to understand that Memorial Day is not just about cookouts and the start of summer. You know, it's not about that at all.
And it's sad that many people forget that there are so many families that sacrificed. And, you know, while people want to perhaps celebrate the freedoms that we have, it is because of all of the people that, you know, fought tirelessly in war and sacrificed it all.
Well, I want to publicly thank myself here, to thank John Borges. He handled the rundown this year for the parade, and I mean, you serve on the committee for the Children's Christmas Parade. Planning a parade is no easy feat, no matter how big or small. It's a lot of coordination to put a rundown and the divisions together. So John actually was just texting me a moment ago with a last-minute update. So I appreciate, John, the constant communication here. It makes our job a little bit easier here today. We're starting to see the motorcycles behind us. We have our FRG TV and FRC media crew here collaborating at Government Center. So bringing you the sights and sounds. Looks like Main Street filled up pretty decently. It was pretty empty, but as soon as they hear those sirens, it seems like people start to make their way out to see what's happening. So this is the honor guard led by the Fall River Police Department and the motorcycles. They tend to lead off almost every parade that we do here in the city, be it here Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and of course the Children's Parade around the holiday season.
And we're seeing a young patriot there, and our camera's picking it up.
Flags up and down Main Street, flags on the motorcycles as well. You know, one of the things with Memorial Day, of course, it's to honor those who are not with us any longer. And sadly, there are far too many war heroes that do not have a final resting place to lay a flag at because they did not make it home. The United States is the only country that strives to account for every missing in action service member. According to the United States Department of Defense, currently over 80,000 servicemen and women still remain MIA. And that's why we fly the POW MIA flag, which was designated in 1977. For over a decade, it flew only 8 days out of the calendar year, but since 1989, mandated by state law, it now flies on state and federal buildings every single day of the year, as it should, 100%. There is our Fall River Police Honor Guard as they cross the intersection. And there is our parade marshal, our Grand Marshal, former city councilor, longtime city councilor, Ray Mitchell, and he's
driven by
Linda Pereira. She fooled me a little bit because she got a new ride. Still a convertible, but Linda driving Ray, good friends, longtime serving city councilors. Linda, of course, currently, and there is our city elected officials and state delegation as well. Mayor Paul Coogan, State Rep Alan Sylvia. We also have Register of Deeds, BJ McDonald. I see Laura Simpson, City Councilor. Andrew Raposo, City Councilor. Joe Camara, City Councilor. And they're walking just in front of the Durfee Band. Marching band, always fantastic.
That's under the direction of Julia Klinger. She's done an amazing job at the high school. It's nice to see so many young people involved in marching bands. I'm glad they're growing.
I'm glad they're growing back because I can tell you when I was in Durfee, I graduated in 2007, we filled a couple buses.
Sure.
And it was sad to see it kind of dwindle down a little bit, but they're building back up. Here are our Gold Star families. Multiple cards for our Gold Star families. Bob Tavares. Also had the family of Elaine Braga and Christine Landry. That was the VFW Post 486, located at 486 Bedford Street. The mission to foster camaraderie among United States veterans of overseas conflicts and to serve our veterans, the military, and our communities, and to advocate on behalf of all veterans.
And here are the Disabled American Veterans, known as DAV, the William S. Green Chapter 9.
DAV van.
That's an interesting vehicle.
Those are called slingshots. And we start to see a lot of those as the summer months.
Sure.
They're becoming more popular, seems, than motorcycles, honestly. I'm sure they're a little
Probably
bit safer.
safer.
Yeah, a little bit safer.
And here, do we have the essay winner in that vehicle?
I believe so. We're supposed to have the Fleet Reserve Association and the essay contest winner, Neha Raj. She's from Dover Shearborn High School.
And here is the BMC Durfee High School NJROTC under the direction of Senior Naval Science Instructor Lieutenant Commander Derek Randall, as well as Naval Science Instructor Chief Petty Officer William Squires. Great group of individuals. They do a wonderful job. They're right across the hall from Fred TV at the high school. Can't say enough wonderful things about their program.
We often hear them doing drills in the hallway, and I mean, another program that's growing back up, it seems. Their numbers continue to improve.
Agreed.
So I'm waving.
See the Italian flag, the Italian American veterans there in the white Mercedes. Steve Rice from FRC Media helping us out today, running the handheld down at the intersection here of Main Street and Sullivan Drive.
Did you know that 14 Italian Americans received the Medal of Honor for their service?
Wow, I did not know that, actually. Tin Can Sailors just went by as well, and now our Flags and Graves officer Victor Farias in his pickup truck. 14,000, that's amazing.
No, 14.
Oh, 14. The Veterans Association of Bristol County, their box truck just passing by. They're located at 755 Pine Street. They offer so much to veterans. PTSD support groups, art therapy and exercise, job search tools, legal assistance, certification for release from the service to the United States, and basic care, hygiene, food, clothing, and of course, companionship and friendship. Their food pantry is open 4 days a week. You can ask for Kim Wagner or Ken Levesque. There's their van as well, the BABC. Still in the first division here. There's 4 divisions today. And it's the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall Committee that's making their way forward next. This was a special project, Pauline.
Yes, more than 58,000 names of the Vietnam military who've passed on are listed on this wall in order of date of their death. It's very important to pay visit to this place and pay respects to all of our fallen heroes. It's right there on the waterfront for all to see. We're so proud of that project too, having produced multiple pieces, yourself and Pam, for the committee, and worked so closely with so many people, especially Committee President Joseph Marshall, Treasurer Jack Sabrega, and Directors Bill Damaris, Frank A., Judge Judy Macy, and City Councilor Linda Flynn.
That's Judge Joseph Basie. All veterans, Joseph was, and Ray Haig, and Bill Damaris, Jackson Brega, Joe Marshall. It was a total effort, and of course, Bicentennial Park is where the wall is. We mentioned 3 years ago. The grand opening was this month 3 years ago, which we had live coverage for as well. Well represented, our Vietnam vets. Here is the wall replica we see in most of the parades here in Fall River. This is a separate float.
And up next is the USS Massachusetts Memorial Committee. The USS Massachusetts is, of course, at Battleship Cove. It's the official state memorial to Americans killed in World War II. Claimed the lives of more than 400,000 Americans globally, a number that's about 5 times the population of Fall River. Imagine that. Remains of service members continue to be recovered and brought home for burial. At least half of those lost at sea. Unlikely bodies to ever be.
5 years ago, our state lost its last Pearl Harbor survivor. That was Staff Sergeant George Hersey. He was 98 years old. He was a native of Brockton, Massachusetts. Of course, here closer to home, our Braga Bridge, honored, named after and memorialized after Charles M. Braga, who was killed in Pearl. He was our city's first casualty of the World War II conflict. The bridge was dedicated 25 years after his passing in 1966. On this Jeep we just saw pass by was Miss Fall River.
Lily Jeswald.
And now behind them is Matt Zenny, the son of Captain Martin M. Zenny. Sadly, Captain Marty passed away in February of this year. He was 102, and I was honored to play his funeral. They were members of our parish, St. Anthony of the Desert Maronite Catholic Church here in Fall River. He and his wife, Margaret, I knew her as Aunt Peggy. They were wonderful people and good friends of my grandparents. We saw them often. They were always a stop on Halloween. They said, make sure you come visit us for trick or treat. Captain Martin was amazing, and he appreciated what he did for his country. He appreciated what others did for this country as well.
And just went by, we saw the Fall River Young Marines. We mentioned them earlier. They're one of the individuals who helped place all the flags of these 10,000 graves throughout the places in Fall River.
And with that, we have hit the second division here. This is the Case High School Marching Band, the Case Cardinals. We'll let you listen. Cambodian dancers, the Mass Apsara Dance Troupe, located on Quikasham Street right here in Fall River. The goal for them is to instruct students on the elements of Cambodian dance and Khmer instruments. And we see on their New Year, as the Fall River Fire Department is making their way through, we see for the Cambodian New Year every year, that's one of the ceremonies we cover here at Government Center. And it's really amazing. It shows you the culture here in Fall River and how many, Pam always says it's a melting pot, and it's very true. It's nice to have that diversity. 100%. Engine number 5 passing by, special services here. The Fall River Fire Department, so many new apparatus during the time of Chief Lynch. Over the last 10 years, they brought in so many new trucks, and they christened all of them. We had so many different ceremonies to put these apparatus into service. The Fall River Fire Department does a lot for this community too. The countless events that they hold for children, we've covered them with some of our students at Fred TV. It's really wonderful to see get the community involved. Of course, the fire department now led by Chief Jeffrey Bacon. The Fall River Police Department we saw earlier with their motorcycle led by Chief Paul Garvin. And now here is Fall River Emergency Medical Services, EMS, with their freshly painted vehicles and ambulances and service medical command vehicles, all in white now, so distinguished. The police have primarily black with some white accents. The fire department's all red, and EMS is white with some blue and the new Fall River logos. They're led by the director, Tim Oliveira, here in the 3rd Division.
And coming up, we have our camera coming up soon on the Boy Scouts of America, Troop 15. They are also located right here in Fall River. They promote friendship and life skills through team building activities and badge earnings. And did you know that one of the rarest awards ever given by the Boy Scouts of America is the William T. Hornaday Award? It was created in 1915 to recognize major contributions to and service in environmental conservation.
Boy Scouts, another group that been around forever, and I think very underrated what they do and what they teach.
Sure.
Next up, in the Mercedes Roadster, the Sons and Daughters of Italy, led by their president, Mario Luciola, Vice President Sue Souza. Mario was at the ceremony, of course, on Saturday evening for the Italian-American veterans in the monument down at Bicentennial Park. You know, we talk about the replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, which is the only one here in the state of Massachusetts and within 100 miles. So we actually, being so close to Rhode Island, we basically wiped out Rhode Island's opportunity to build one because there's certain stipulations and restrictions with how many can, you know, be present in a certain radius of miles. But it's not just, of course, the wall down there. While it's so big, there's Iwo Jima, there's the Gold Star, there's the Korean War. There's so many monuments, and I know I'm going to miss one of them. The point is, as you said, Pauline, make it a point to go down there. The park is beautiful now. So much work has gone into it.
And I think it's sort of a sense of peace for the families that had to experience such tragedy.
So this next group you see, JFK, is the Citizens Commission for President John F. Kennedy State Holiday Incorporated. It's a group of Massachusetts residents led by James Coughlin, their president and chief spokesperson. He actually just appeared a couple days ago on 1420 New Bedford Radio, WBSM, and they're promoting to try to get a state holiday here in Massachusetts for our native president.
Sure.
And interestingly enough, I did not know this Wednesday, 2 days from now, would have been John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy's 107th birthday. We also saw Gillette's Martial Arts just came by. They're making their way to the sidewalk. They are located at 70 Shove Street, right near McGovern's on the state line for Tiverton and Fall River. And then we have Mr. Jay Treelor with the middle school musicians.
And Matt McMullen as well. I see him out there. It's the middle school marching band.
Matt was my conductor. He got the job at Durfee when I was still in school, and it's great to still see him here in the city. And the Fall River Police Department trailing behind with the motorcycles as the 4th Division and final division today comes to a close. Memorial Day Parade is usually on the shorter side, but the impact's still the same. A lot of the same groups we see in other parades throughout the year here in Fall River, and always nicely done.
Absolutely. We have a lot of people to thank for that. So
we certainly do. We thank you, of course, as well, for your viewership at home and for always tuning into Fall River Government Television, your official station here in the city for city press conferences, meetings, parades like this, and other events like this.
Yes.
So today and every day, we remember those who proudly served our country, and especially on this Memorial Day, those who are no longer with us. May the memory of them, from those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, be eternal. And our prayers, as we said at the beginning, prayers and thoughts of healing with the Gold Star families always.
Yes.
So thank you all for watching. We invite you to keep it here. We thank our crew behind the scenes. Some great camera shots today. My co-host, Pauline. I'm Evan Massoud. Stay with us as we take you inside the Government Center atrium for our final Memorial Day ceremony here in 2024.
Human rights. May we be faithful servants of the heritage that has been entrusted to us. Reverently, on this Memorial Day, we pay our tribute of respect to those who gave their lives in service of our country. We pray that the souls of these, our heroic dead, may have found perfect rest and receive the crown of an unfading life. We humbly acknowledge our debt to them, and we ask for the strength to go on towards the ideals for which they fought and died. As they gave themselves to advance the ideal of world peace and justice, may they inspire our continued efforts towards this same end. Unite the people of our nation to defend the freedom, justice, and peace for which they lived and died. This we ask in your holy name. Amen. Amen.
At this time, we have Theodore Banks, and the Pledge of Allegiance. Teddy has a bit of a sore throat today, so it will be given to us, for us, by your grandson.
Right hand on your chest. Move.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lucas. That was wonderful. Thank you. No, sit. You may sit. From FRGTV, a wonderful voice of Evan Massoud will lead us with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much. Okay, you may now be seated. At this time, I would like to ask Gold Star families, commanders of our various military groups, along with any veteran, to please rise and be honored. Thank you. Thank you. I see some of our commanders didn't even take a seat, so they were already standing. So I salute you all. Thank you for your service. Words from the Mayor of the City of Fall River, Paul Coogan.
Obviously, it's a time of great pride in the city of Fall River as we honored veterans over this entire weekend, culminating with the parade this morning. Fall River makes an extraordinary effort to honor the sacrifice, commitment, and obviously hard work given by all of our veterans to keep this country safe. I want to make sure we acknowledge it 365 days a year, but especially on Memorial Day when we single out this group for all they've done to keep this country safe. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming to all the events over the last 3 days. It's the way Fall River does things, and we owe these gentlemen and women a tremendous debt of gratitude. Thank you.
In putting together many of the celebrations that we have, the memorials that we have, all of our flags around the cemeteries, all of the wreaths that are placed on monuments, that's done in cooperation with lots of people. Victor Farias, our flag officer, handles a lot of the flags. The War Veterans Council, the Veterans Office, in cooperation with the City of Fall River, make sure that all of that is done. I'd like to share with you a few words from the Vice Commander of the War Veterans Council, Bob Guinan.
Thank you, Linda. My name is Bob Guinan. I am the Senior Vice Commander of the Fall River War Council, and I am also the Vice Commander of the Vietnam Veterans of Fall River. During 1968 and 1969, some of the Vietnam War's most difficult years, I served. I was fortunate enough to return to Fall River, my hometown. But every day, and respectively on Memorial Day, I think about my brothers, veterans, who never returned to their hometowns. On behalf of all the veterans, I want to thank every organization, every public official, and every civilian that took time today to remember my comrades in arms that loved America and loved all of you enough to serve in war and make the sacrifice. Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
I'd like to introduce some of the people that are here today. Starting on this side, B.J. McDonald, Register of Deeds. Members of my colleagues on the City Council, Councilor Brad Kilby, Councilor Andrew Raposo, Councilor Laura Sampson, and President of the Council, Joseph Camara. To this side, we have Lily Rankin. She is the Miss Fall River Teen. And Lily Jeswald. And the rest of the people we'll save for later. Right now, I would like to, I know, Mr. Mayor, you know me by now that I know. You know. I would not skip two of the best state reps, and our third state rep sent her regards and apologies for not being able to be here. But we have a great state delegation, and I would like to introduce you to two of our three members, Representative Paul Schmid and Alan Sylvia, who will do a presentation.
Thank you, Linda. Next week on June 6th will be the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And because of that, Rep. Schmidt and I asked the governor if she would present the city veterans with a citation, a proclamation. So on behalf of Governor Maura Healey and Lieutenant Governor Kimberly Driscoll, we would like to present city veterans with this citation. I need my glasses, though. Whereas on the 6th of June, 1944, Allied forces launched the largest seaborne invasion in history, known as D-Day. Whereas the valor, sacrifice, and determination of the Allied troops on the beaches of Normandy, France, exemplified the highest ideals of bravery and heroism. And whereas the success of Operation Overlord marked a pivotal turning point in World War II, leading to the liberation of Europe from Nazi tyranny. And
whereas we honor the memory of the thousands of soldiers who gave their lives on D-Day and countless others who fought bravely for freedom. And whereas on this day we reaffirm our commitment to upholding the principles of liberty, democracy, and peace, for which they so gallantly fought. And whereas every 6th day of June shall be commemorated as a day of remembrance, gratitude, and reverence for the heroes of D-Day, whose courage and sacrifice will never be forgotten. Now, therefore, I, Maura T. Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim June 6, 2024 to be D-Day Remembrance. And Alan and I ask each one of you a week from Thursday to pause for a minute and remember that day, June 6, which was the bloodiest day ever for the American military. Thank you.
thank you. Let me give that to Linda, the mayor.
Yes.
Linda.
The parade committee has a group that get together and we try to select a grand marshal. And this year we've also done a grand marshal in memoriam, which is someone who has passed and wasn't recognized, and we felt they should be. So this year, there is a gentleman who served in the United States Air Force. He joined at the age of 18 because he believed that everyone should serve their country. Upon return from overseas, he was stationed in Oklahoma. And while on a 3-day pass, he met his future wife. They returned to his roots in Fall River. He worked at the Housing Authority. He served on the Diamond School Board for 10 years and as its chairman for 7. He served on the Fall River School Committee and the Fall River City Council and gave countless hours of volunteerism to our veterans and our community. I introduce you to our Grand Marshal of 2024, Raymond Mitchell.
Thank you, Linda. I didn't deserve that introduction, but thank you. And I need cheaters. Unfortunately, age is catching up to me. When I first started running for office in 1979, my mother gave me some sage advice. She told me if I was to be successful at speaking in public, I should stand tall to be seen, speak clearly to be understood, and keep it short to be appreciated. Although there have been times that I haven't taken that advice, today I will try my best to heed that advice. At this time, I would like to thank those individuals on the Memorial Day Committee who asked me to be the Grand Marshal of this parade. It's probably an honor that I truly didn't deserve, but an honor I will always cherish. There are so many times I've heard people speak ill of our city, Fall River, Massachusetts. I feel Fall River does not get the credit it truly deserves, and in so many ways. Many communities throughout our country have 2 or 3 ceremonies to honor those who have served this country, especially those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Without their sacrifice, the democracy that you and I treasure would no longer be. In Fall River, on Memorial Day, we do much more than 2 or 3 events. As a matter of fact, I have counted 10 events that we have held with the help of so many people who took time out of their busy lives to honor those who made that sacrifice. I would like a round of applause and appreciation for those men and women who have taken time out of their busy lives to participate in these numerous events that took place this week in our city. The War Council, in cooperation with the city, put up wreaths on all the military monuments around our city. At each monument, a wreath was placed, a prayer was offered, and taps were played in memory of all those servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. Our city takes second place to no one in its commitment to our veterans. Memorial Day is actually dedicated to those who did in fact make the ultimate sacrifice. Let us not forget that. And let's not only honor them today, but also honor their families who have lost a loved one. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter where I go, I stand tall and proudly speak of my home, Fall River. Fall River, I love my city, and I love each and every one of you. Thank you.
So I know a gentleman who died at the age of 102. God bless him. This gentleman's career in the United States Navy spanned over 38 years. He started out in Great Lakes. He was stationed in Pearl Harbor. He was in the Naval Academy. He commanded 2 large squadrons and 4 ships. He finished his career as the commanding officer of the Navy Training Center. He received so many commendations, I would need 10 minutes to name them all. But then he was stationed in Newport, where he met, as he told me, the gang from Fall River, and he met the love of his life, Peggy. In Fall River, he served as special assistant to then Mayor Carlton Viveris, later as executive director of the Fall River Housing Authority. Again, he served as chairman of so many committees, and he served on many boards. He was on the board from the Girl Scouts. He was on the board from the United Way. He just did so much. A gentleman who not only served his country, but served his community. I introduce you to his son, who, quite frankly, is just as nice as his dad was. Our Grand Marshal in Memoriam, Martin Zenny, and here to say some words on his behalf is his son, Matt Denny.
Ray, I need him too. Thank you, Linda. Good morning. Today we remember those servicemen and women who gave so much. I'm Matt Zenny, and today I stand here in memory of my father, Captain Martin Zenny. Dad served in the Navy for 38 years. Entering as a high school graduate, he went through boot camp at Great Lakes, Illinois. His first post after boot camp was the USS Maryland, stationed at Pearl Harbor. Somehow, luckily, Dad caught the eye of the captain and could quickly answer math questions and other questions. The captain thought that my father's talents would be well served going for additional education. Got my father transferred to the prep school. From the prep school, he graduated from the Navy Academy in 3 short years. After the academy, Dad served on 11 different ships. 4 as commanding officer, 2 as commissioning commanding officer. He also had 2 stints at the Navy air stations where he could fly. Basically, takeoff and landings was his real problem, but flying wasn't. He spoke often about being a Navy salvage diver. He said that that really set him up for life. attacking problems, understanding situations, and preparing him for anything that really came at him. He commanded 2 squadrons of ships, 5 ships on each squadron. At the end of his career, after 36 years, he returned to Great Lakes, Illinois, as Commander Naval Training Center, coming full circle from where he started as a boot. He enjoyed retirement for a very short time, coming back to Fall River in 1977, and got on the staff of Mayor Carlton Viveris just in time for the blizzard of '78. From there, he went on to be executive director for the Fall River Housing Authority, sat on many, many boards, was chairman of the police board, was acting veterans administrator, was the Lebanese American veteran officer, St. Anne's Hospital Advisory Board, but really what he loved about St. Anne's was the fact that he could volunteer in their emergency room. Giving back.
Your father's calling me.
He is. Tell him I said hi. Giving back to his community meant everything to him. You see, Dad was born in Dayton, Ohio, but Fall River was really his home. He had many loves: a good cigar, a round of golf, in Manhattan, but his true love was my mom, Peggy, his family and his friends, the United States Navy, and his beloved Fall River. Dad enjoyed helping people and readily and easily gave career advice and help. For health reasons, about 15 years ago, he moved in with my brother and sister-in-law in Florida. During our many nightly calls, I would have to update Dad on what was happening in Fall River, often asking, how's Linda? How's the mayor? How's the housing authority? What's going on? The last couple of years was especially difficult for me. My dad was 100% blind, very hard of hearing. I would ask him how he was doing. He never complained, always felt grateful. He always said that he was blessed. We buried Dad in February with my mom at the age of 102 in the city he loved, proudly wearing his Navy uniform, displaying his service medals and his ribbons. My father, the captain, was more than just a sailor. He was my North Star. He had strength and a kindness. The captain commanded respect, but was always respectful. He taught me the importance of community, family, and love. To my father, Captain Zenny, to all our veterans, and especially to those who have given their lives in service of our nation, you have our deepest gratitude and respect. We remember you today and thank you every day that we live in freedom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Before beginning our closing, I just want to thank some of the people that are here, like the Fall River Police Department for the Honor Guard, also the Fall River Vietnam Veterans of Fall River, and their rendition of Taps will be played later. But you know what really impresses me? This year, we have incorporated so much youth into our celebrations. We really have. The Civil War Monument was on the 17th. And I contacted Fonseca School, and we had 200 children from that school come up. They came and they participated. We gave them each a flag. We gave them a little card telling them about the Civil War. And they taught us a lot. We had a few that stood together to do the pledge. And they learned how to sing God Bless America in the most amazing way. And we also had our Durfee Choir, who's just amazing. And then Father Rob, his son, hosted the Polish American monument, and that was yesterday at 8 o'clock in the morning, followed by Mass and breakfast. But he had his whole youth group there, and they read poems, and it was amazing. And then today, I see that we have our young Marines, and we had our ROTC youth participate. But our young Marines do so much, and they help us so much. It's very nice to incorporate the youth. And the Fleet Reserve does an essay contest every year. And this year, the winner was Neera Raj. Is Neera here? And Neera is going to read us what she wrote. Come on, Neera. And I think it's so important. Thank you, honey.
In the gentle hush of dawn, America awakens to a day unlike any other. Memorial Day is a day when the sacrifices of countless souls press gently upon our hearts, urging us to remember, to honor, and to cherish the freedoms we often take for granted. Imagine for a moment a world where we couldn't voice our opinions, where our dreams were dictated, where our very essence was stifled. This could have been our reality, but because of the valiant men and women who stood tall in the face of adversity, we live in a land where freedom is our birthright, allowing us to breathe, dream, and live freely. As an Indian American, my heart swells with pride and gratitude. My ancestors have hailed from a different land, but the spirit of freedom, the undying belief in the power of democracy, bridges the gap between my dual heritages. The brave souls who have laid down their lives for this nation have paved the way for immigrants like my family to dream, to thrive, and to call America home. Memorial Day is a symphony of gratitude, echoing the tales of heroes who laid down their lives. It's a day where we as a nation come together to honor the fallen. It's a day that reminds us that our freedom, as beautiful as it is, came at a cost. The beauty of Memorial Day lies in its power to transcend. It's not just about the past, it's the beacon for the future. It reminds us that freedom, like a delicate flower, needs nurturing, that the ideals we hold dear are worth defending, generation after generation. So as the sun sets on this sacred day, let's hold close the memories of those who have gone before us. Let's vow to be worthy of their sacrifice, to live with purpose, kindness, and an unwavering belief in the American dream. By doing so, we ensure that their legacy lives on, not just in history books, but in the heartbeat of a nation that will forever be grateful. That, to me, is the essence of Memorial Day.
And that young lady wrote that all on her own, and that was absolutely beautiful. Now I'll have Lily Jeswald sing God Bless America on Miss Fall River. Sing close to it.
Okay. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Our closing prayer, we have the honor of having Reverend Andy Stinson from the First Congressional Church.
I invite you to pray with me. Lord of the upward way, this Memorial Day, as our ceremonies come to a close, let us still weep with those who weep and mourn with those who mourn. We pray you to comfort the moms and dads, the children and spouses, the brothers and sisters, the friends and comrades who endure the empty chair, as only your sublime presence can. You have collected all their tears in a bottle. Help them feel your presence with them and your tender hand at work. Let us as a city and as a nation help in binding their wounds. Spur us and all the hosts of heaven around them to be your hands and feet and to meet their practical needs. And thank you, Lord, that you have placed one such as these in our midst to offer such a great sacrifice. As those warriors we raise up this Memorial Day dwell with you, bind up the wounds of war, and heal the broken hearts. And so we go forth from these devotions. Make us a great nation, yes, but more than that, make us a good one. Forgive us for wanting our own way, making our own paths often the ones paved with the least resistance. Forgive us for ignoring the truths that can so easily set us free, and deliver us from the mindless quarrels and the crusades that lead us nowhere but away from your goodness. Free us from divisiveness, melt our hardened hearts to love, not hate, to heal, and not debate. Lend your eternal blessing in our going out as we continue to honor those who gave the last full measure of devotion to our nation, and let us be ready in our living to do the same as we go forward. We pray this in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
Now we'll play taps and retire colors. Thank you all for your participation. My name is Linda Pereira. I thank you for being here, and I ask you one favor. Go in peace, but remember our veterans who died in combat or when they returned home. If you see a veteran, please, I beg of you, say thank you. Feel free to have some coffee and pastry, and again, thank you for taking time out of your life to support our veterans. God bless you all, and God bless the great city of Fall River.